Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Wolfram Language Design Review, part of our incremental language development series. We have various topics here. All right, first topic. Are we ready? Did Jeremy come yet?
I haven't.
All right, let's go to the second topic then.
Okay. I have Filippo here. I understand this is something you guys talked about sometime briefly ago, but he had some suggestions on extending our support for cash flow in a couple areas in the language, specifically time value and currency convert. And I wanted to have at least a brief discussion about, how closely we want to integrate cash flow with the general unit framework, or if we want to keep it fairly targeted
Well, first
on
of all,
finance.
this is really a time series.
Right.
But a cash flow is really a time series in here, and we should be using the new time series framework for this.
Yeah, I believe Filippo, we had talked about that in one of the time series and data models meeting, right?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I mean,
Okay.
right now, this form here is an elided version. I mean, if I start up the new time series, I'm going to start prototype here.
Mhm.
Oh, great. My prototype is dead. Can somebody report that to Roger? Let's go to main branch. Hopefully this will work. Okay, so if I put this in here, and I just say time series of that, right? I think that will convert it to a time series object, right?
Should, yep.
Okay. So this is a fine elided form of the time series, but the time series would be the full way to do this. Make sense?
Yeah.
So that represents a cash flow. Now, what is that 0.0? Oh, that's the interest rate.
Yep.
Okay. Sorry, it's not working with cash flow with dates and interest rate times. What does that mean?
Time series, sorry, the time series. So time value working only with a single interest rate. And we are trying to generalize the time series of interest rate that are changing through times.
Okay, so you want this argument here to be a time series also?
Yes, exactly.
That makes sense to me. If you
That,
can do the math, makes sense with me. But I mean, my question is only that time series by default would have some kind of interpolation mechanism, right? In other words, that time series is presumably a zeroth order interpolation. That is, when you say the interest rate goes to blah, it immediately goes to that. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Well, I think it seems like a fine thing. So have you got the code to make this work?
Yes, I do have. the code.
Okay.
There are certain nuances about business day, working business day, but I have the code.
Well, wait a second. So Nick, have you talked to Nick about that already?
We briefly discussed a couple of months ago, probably.
So
but
you've got to tighten that up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I don't see a reason why. Does this work for time series now? I think that it does. Yeah, seems to work fine. So we should obviously extend this syntax. Well, I don't know what. Right, that syntax. I mean, what about getting a time series out for the time value?
I guess we'd need like if there were just two arguments, if you didn't have a third argument, would it give a full time series?
Well, up to what point?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it could give a time value function that could be queried at any point. I mean, having the time value be able to be queried with a sub value would be nice.
Yeah.
Filippo, can you comment on that, please?
Yes. I think it will can solve lots of problems that we deal with if we have a time value function.
Okay, so maybe time value with two arguments could internally cache what it needs to be able to do a time value function. I don't think we necessarily want a time value function separately, unless you give an argument for that, Filippo.
No, no,
Okay.
I don't see any reason.
Okay, but so the immediate things are making cash flow support time series, making using Filippo's algorithm for this. Now, business day, does that have to do with, well, help me out with that. That has to do with whether interest accrues on non-business days and things. Is that correct?
Exactly.
Okay, so how are you dealing with that?
So fundamentally, I have to tell you something about time value. So the cash flow, there are two versions, the one with dates and the other one without the dates. So without the dates, that there are single periods, and the single periods generalization, it works fine in Wolfram in our code. When we are injecting the dates, and this is happening, for example, for the mortgage-backed security, you have to be aware that the dates are falling in a business date and not on holidays. And so from that point, you have to be aware that your period, they are not perfectly equal to each other. So a 6 months period could be slightly different. And so this affect the interest
Okay,
rate.
so hold on. In terms of the design, there are, if you put down this interest rate, well, so are you saying it's simply somebody puts in an interest rate and some of the days of that interest rate specification are holidays, and then that's an error? Is that what you're saying? Or is it something different?
No. I'm not saying it's an error, but
okay, so then say again what you were saying. What specifically does it have to do?
It has to do that the fact that when you're calculating the interest rate, I think you're, if I remember correctly, you are considering the interest rate until the previous business day, and not the holiday. So if your interest rate change on Monday, you have to compute the interest rate until Friday.
Okay, but okay, we're giving absolute dates.
Yeah,
those absolute dates. So maybe it depends on what country you're in, whether it's a holiday or not. Is that correct?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So what we basically want is an option to time value that is going to give you. So we have, okay, the business day calendar stuff. We have, Nick, can you remind us, how does that work?
Yeah, so we have curated business calendars for different countries and exchanges. And so basically what that works, or how that works, is it tallies, it doesn't tally.
I understand,
toggles whether a day is a business day or not.
Right, but so if I say next day, for example, next date, if I want to find the next business day, how do I do that?
Just say business day as a string. And that'll be tomorrow, since it's not a holiday.
Okay.
But if you put Friday in, or today plus 2 as the first argument, or plus 2 days, sorry. Then it'll be Monday. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the issue here, so how do I specify which business calendar I'm using?
There's a holiday calendar option.
Okay.
And you could say,
so why did that go red?
I'm not sure. It might not be popping up in the autocomplete.
Well, it's a bug.
Yeah, it's a bug, but yeah, you should, if there was a, oh, okay. Well, that's
a bug.
Yeah, that's a bug. Anything that accepts the different day types has to have holiday calendar support. So.
Right, but so here, you're suggesting that time value has a holiday calendar, and that whatever you give here would be next day across holiday dates. Is that correct? Filippo, can you speak to that, please?
Yeah. No, it's not correct. You don't want to change the interest rate on when these things happen. You want to compute the time value of the particular period on the
Okay,
cash
but
flow time
syntax
series.
wise, all right, fine. But syntax wise, is it correct that we could put in an option here? And would that be enough information that you would know what to do?
I think so. I think so. I have to review, but I think so. That's enough. There should be enough.
All right. So holiday calendar none would not do any of this business day stuff.
Yes.
And if you
Yes.
give a country, it would do the holiday calendar for that country.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other
Yeah.
things you need solved for time value?
No.
Okay. So
That's
please
it.
work with Nick and let's get all this stuff, updated.
I will.
Yep.
Make sense? Okay. Let's talk about currency conversion.
Currency convert, it's even easier. The point is, at the moment, currency convert use internal data, and it tries to convert to the currency that you specify. And we need to deal with the future exchange rate. So what you need to do is that you need to able to specify a particular time series of exchange rate and use that instead of the data that are coming from our financial data.
Okay, so hold on. So here we've got something in US dollars, right?
Yep.
Which could be a cash flow. And by the way, currency convert presumably works on time series, but that should be checked.
Yeah.
Does it work on time series?
Yeah, unit conversion works on time series as well.
Okay. All right, fine. So then it converts, but now you're saying instead of it automatically, so the second argument normally to currency convert is
Would be
the
other
currency that you are converting to, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So what I'm trying to understand is why aren't you just making the second argument, right? So in other words, it's currency convert of, let's say 10 reals, whatever those might be. I don't even know what those are, but and that would be to US dollars. Why didn't that go by default to US dollars? Why didn't it? Isn't there a local currency by default? That's not a good. That's my God. What do I have to do here? Okay, it's not great. Okay. In any case, why isn't it the case that you can just give as a second argument here either just a number that is the conversion rate, so this does the amazing thing of multiplying, basically,
Yeah.
or a time series, right?
A time series of exchange rates.
Of conversion rates. So in other words,
Yeah.
if that thing there was just a number, 7.5 or something, it would just do the multiplication. But the non-trivial case
would be that exchange rate time series above.
Right.
Well, yeah, single value with the exchange rate time series. Not sure what should do. What is the standard behavior?
Well, it should do it for the current day.
What's the currency of the output in this case?
This
US
doesn't
dollars,
make any
the default
sense.
US
This
dollars?
doesn't make
Okay.
any sense. This has to be. See, this doesn't make sense either, because this is a conversion rate, exchange rate series. So it's got to be that divided by dollars, right? See what I'm saying? It doesn't know what to do unless it has that. So, I mean, to me, we can perfectly well have this thing here divided by $1, for example.
Yeah, it's going to try and evaluate.
It's going to try and convert it.
Yeah, you can have, if you had it as a single quantity of 816 euros per US dollar, it would not cancel out by default. But when you do,
that's pretty ugly though.
Quantities,
okay, so when people quote these exchange rate time series, what do they typically quote them as? How do they typically quote them? Or do you
Sorry,
not know?
no, I don't know exactly. What we are using is that we are using with the future interest rate. So we are trying to simulate exchange rate for the
No,
future.
I understand.
Yeah.
But if you were to get an exchange rate time series, what units does it come out in? Maybe we should get Jason here. Maybe does he know this better? He should have been here in this meeting.
He definitely can. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I think we need him to answer this question. So we can try and reach out and see if we can reach him now, or we could do this another time. Can you do that, please?
Yeah. Let me ping him.
But you understand my point. I mean, to me, cash flow, you're cheating, so to speak, to put an exchange rate in here, because this isn't really a cash flow, is it?
No.
In fact, no, I'm sorry. This is the cash flow, right? So when you put the exchange rate, it's a time series. I mean,
it's a time series of the exchange rate, and then you are using the exchange rate
I know, but what's the rate? The rate is euro per dollar.
Yeah,
right?
it's usually given just as a numeric ratio, and it's implicitly in euros per dollar.
Yeah.
Okay, but if that's the case, it's not going to know unless you hack it with this third argument, right? It's not going to know if that's just a number, right? It's not going to know what the currency of the output should be. Am I making sense?
Yeah, unless we stick it in something like a quantity with the units of euros per dollar.
But this has a date, the historical date specification. So we can't do that.
Yeah.
So I think what we need to do is, and I think this makes perfect sense, if we have a time series that maybe has past history and future history in the second argument, making sense, then the date would pick out the right thing.
Yeah. Yeah, if we have a time series there, we can basically use it for lookup and then do.
Yeah, we shouldn't have organized this without Jason, by the way, this meeting. Let's not make that mistake again.
Okay.
The inflation adjust probably also needs to be handled in some way here. Right? But it also needs this time series approach. Yes, it does. Kind of all there is to it. Okay. Because you might want to be studying, you're studying the inflation in the late Roman Empire, and you've got data and you want to feed it in. It's got to work. Or you've got a prediction for, you've got code that involves inflation adjustment going into the future.
Yeah, I don't think there shouldn't be any ambiguous cases syntactically where we're putting a time series in for a unit. That's just not something that exists right now. So if we have that basically a marker for this is historical exchange rates, which are the only units we have that have historical value adjustments currently, then that would make sense.
Let's see. Okay, so I'm just worrying here about what is the exchange rate time series and where did it come from? You may not be able to answer that question, Filippo.
No, I don't think so.
Hello, Jason.
We have Jason.
Okay, we're talking about design for currency convert. Okay. And the thing we're hung up on is this third argument isn't going to work. So what we need to know is the exchange rate time series. Its natural units would be euros per dollar if it's converting from dollars to euros. Is that a reasonable thing to do, to have that be what's in the, this is where's the time series we want?
It's right above that. Exchange rate time series. Oh, no, it's in that section. It's just the financial data call.
It's the output of the financial data call behind the semicolon. Yep.
Okay, but that output which, I mean, it would be nice to make this output is okay, that's a time series, but the units of that time series are, first of all, look, I think if we're going to be dealing with time series, we should probably have a function that simply gives you the exchange rate time series rather than doing this slightly hacky thing here. Am I making sense? But the question is the units here, if I say, oh God, I don't know how to do this. Okay.
You just want values, right?
Yeah. Okay, so it's just numbers, right?
Yeah, from financial data, it's not giving you the units at the moment.
Right. Okay, so the issue is in currency convert, we could have something where it just gives numbers, but then we have to tell it what's the destination unit.
Right.
Or we could have the exchange rate time series. We could have you insist on giving, currency per currency type numbers here. Am I making sense? The problem with that is just saying A divides B doesn't work because it evaluates. But what we could do here is to say quantity 0.816. There we could say probably, I don't know whether this works. Well, euro, does this work?
It doesn't do sub-expression parsing. If you made that a single string, euro per USD, it should parse. Yeah.
Okay. But so that string will be the same string as the string you would give here, right?
Yep.
You're saying that euros space per US dollar? What string are you talking about?
Euro/USD.
Got it. Yes.
So then what we're suggesting is
the only difference here is, I mean, euro versus EUR, which is an exchange ticker-like symbol for the currency and the currency pair.
Yeah, I mean, you can use EUR here as well.
Yeah.
But yeah.
A question there, though, is how many things are like that? That is.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, the typical case is major currency pairs, and there's some number of major currencies. There's also minor currencies that are probably still covered, but people will also use things like treating it as an exchange rate for things like crypto, Bitcoin per dollar.
Yes.
And that's something that's not simply a currency like.
Yes, but I mean, if you don't want to use units, then don't put them into your original. The cash flow doesn't care if this is dollars as opposed to just numbers, right?
I mean,
true.
Well, the cash flow object itself doesn't, once each one has been translated into it, but the reason you need the exchange rate is precisely because you're doing exchanges between one and another, right?
Yes.
So it matters that this side of it is in dollars and that side is in euros for how the currency convert will work.
All right. Okay. So let's zoom out for a second here. Okay. So first point, should we have a function that returns exchange rate time series? Is that useful? I mean, we have
absolutely. I mean, currency convert without a time series version of it is going to be way too limited.
Yeah, but does currency convert let you ask for a time series? Yes, currency convert has a date, right? So currency convert should.
Yep. Yeah. So you can give it a range of dates, and it'll give you a time series back.
Okay. So fine. So we in fact have this right now.
Yeah.
So
in terms of a lookup function, we have financial data, but it wouldn't be unreasonable to have a historical currency conversion lookup function that gives you back a time series of exchange rates. And we could do the extra work of if we wanted to add the units in there for the
but why not just do this? Why not just have currency convert, EUR USD
Okay,
like this.
we have
What
to be clear here for a second, right? So there's two separate things here, and this is why currency convert is a little bit funky here, right? So there's the actual series of the exchange rates, right? And then there's also the act of using the exchange rate at particular dates to do a currency conversion at that date, right? Because you can do the currency conversion now for something that happened in the past, or you can do the currency conversion at the rate that occurred in the past, right? And that's why these things have to interact with cash flow objects, right? Because the time at which the conversion takes place it tells you which exchange rate you should use for that. You could say, these are all my cash flows in dollars, but I want to know what they were in euros, where I'm using the euro now. Or you could say, what would they if they actually converted from dollars to euros on each of these dates? Those are two different calculations.
Yeah, okay. Okay, but look, this that's nice. That gives
Yeah,
a
that
time
is nice.
series.
Yeah, that is very nice. Yep.
And presumably that will work for Bitcoins and all that kind of thing. So I think we've got
for
that.
major crypto, we've got those.
So we just shouldn't be using financial data for this. We should be using currency convert for this function. Now, the question is, what does this
If you do normal of that, is that unitless?
I'm afraid it probably is, but we probably need to change that.
No, it's not.
No, it has units. It has units.
But it's not.
But it's not the right
It's
units.
It's interpreting that
dollars.
euro as an input currency value. It's saying convert €1 to USD.
USDs. That's right. So it's giving you the values in USD. It's not giving you the values in USD per euro.
Right. So the argument would be what we could potentially do is with this syntax, we could
I think Bob has something in the chat that's
Yeah. You can wrap quantity around a unitless time series and it will add the unit, right? So something like that would be natural.
Well, we don't want to have to make people type this.
Right. I mean, you could
not. No,
you could
but
add,
I'm just suggesting that in this case where you have EUR USD, rather than a number of, why not have that produce the thing over thing? I mean, we could also just have a thing called exchange rate, which does that, where it's an exchange rate, where we leave currency convert as it is.
Right. So this is not actually converting it or converting it at different times. It's just saying given the exchange rate as a time series. Or as a point
or it's
in time.
just a number. But I mean, that number would be in euros per dollar. I'm sorry, in this, in this way around, it's dollars per. What does this mean? Exchange rate from blah to blah. Which way around does this go? Is this from euros to dollars or
from euros to dollars?
Okay, so it's dollars per euro, right? This would give a result
in dollars.
This would be a quantity. Okay, fine. So that's what I think we should do. We should have an exchange rate function. We should not mess with currency convert. We should have an exchange rate function that can take where the default, if I just say 1 year here, it should give the past year, etc. Right?
Yep. And if you say all, then it gives what we have data for.
Or whatever it is. Yes. Okay. So
that's a time series with some granularity.
Yeah. I mean, the exchange rate info we have is granular it's usually.
This is an issue. I mean, so for most of the purposes that we're looking at here, daily is fine. But if you're talking about interday, it's not.
Right.
And if you ask for 10 years, daily might be more than you want.
More than you need. That's right.
So we want granularity. So what would be the way that we would give a granularity option for typical
date granularity?
So there can be a date granularity. The other thing you can have is particular dates, right? You can have a set of particular dates in which you care about it.
Well, then ask for it on those dates. I mean, if you say if you say that thing, date, you'll get it for that particular date. And we should
I'm
support
just
a
saying,
list of dates.
I'm just saying that this should play nicely with things like cash flow objects, which have a list of explicit times.
Yep. And if you want to
Yes.
range, you can use a date interval to disambiguate
Right, but
the
okay,
two
so
case.
let's look at how this works with the cash flow object.
And the only thing, and it never returns a list. It always either gives a time series or a single.
No, I think in this case it returns a list.
Oh, not a time series with the dates in the right place.
Oh, I see. It should be a time series.
Right. So in the case where it's a single date, it just gives the conversion factor, but anything else gives a
There's
time series. Never a list.
That's what I think.
I mean, cash flow objects are not currently time series, are they?
They're going to be.
They're going to be.
Okay, if that's good, then that's fine. If they're all going to convert on time series, that works.
Yeah, and I think the canonical form of cash flow, to be clear, should be cash flow over time series. Am I making sense?
Mm-hmm.
So if you type this in, you'll get a time series back. So okay, so let's just make sure that this operates correctly together. So Jason is saying,
sorry. When you said type this in, you go to cash time series back, you're saying it's still going to be cash flow head, but you're saying a cash flow time series inside of it. Yeah, okay.
Yes. Okay, but now what we already discussed is we've got a cash flow and we're giving a time series here of interest rates. Okay. We've got a separate argument, which is the holiday calendar. We already talked about that. Let's believe that will work. Jason, you understand what we're trying to do there? And this would generally be a time series, although this elided form would also be accepted for interest rate. Now, how does exchange rate play into this? How do we're trying to get, okay, is it one thing you might want to do is convert it to cash flow from one currency to another? Is that correct?
Yes, but that's going to be operating on the first argument of the time value calculation, the cash flow structure, right?
Okay, fine. So then what we'd be doing is we'd be saying currency convert of that cash flow, which is in dollars, to euro, for example.
Yes.
Which presumably doesn't work right now. It doesn't work right now, which is good. Okay, so that's got to be made to work. And now the question is, what exchange rate are we using for that conversion?
It needs to be exchange rates on those explicit days. That's right.
Yeah, but okay, but so fine. So the default here is if you, right, the default for currency convert, we're running into the same problem again. We want to return a cash flow which has euros in it. Okay?
Correct.
But now let's say that by hand, you put an exchange rate in here. Okay? Maybe that's not some, but okay. So my point is.
So when you say by hand, are you saying you put something there which is a quantity?
A time series. A time series.
Okay, a time series. Okay.
Right. I think if you do that, then the only constraint is that time series better have, dollar per, euro per dollar and so on. And then this will be fine. In other words, if that came out of exchange rate or your own version of exchange rate, and it is correctly united, then currency convert can do exactly the right thing here.
Right.
Okay. Right. Anybody? This looks correct to me. It looks like we're all good here. Yeah. I don't know. Does this need a holiday calendar or anything like that? I don't think so.
It should not, because it's on a set of explicit days.
Okay. All right. I think we got a solution here.
Wonderful.
So I just want to throw in one other thing there. I think I don't see a reason why this wouldn't work, but just make sure it's covered. The other thing you often want to do in these kinds of applications is be able to, instead of taking historical actual exchange rate, you need to, have forward simulated ones, right? And so you're winding up taking past things as a basis of a simulation, but you're constructing your future time series of a different possible path for the interest rate or a different possible path for the exchange rate, and then you have to do some cash flow calculations on those forward
It's all
things.
good. It's all good. It'll work just fine. The only thing that you need to be aware of is that if you give an exchange rate, the elements of that exchange rate better be things with the correct units.
Okay. Yep.
That is euros per dollar or whatever.
There's
And
not
not
going to be
just-
anything which is going to try to do any conversion rate and look up a time, and it doesn't have a price for it.
Don't think so. I mean,
Yeah.
so here's a question. If you right now do a currency convert, that is a bad message. Can we fix the message while we're at it?
Yeah, it should basically be a warning in that case that we don't extrapolate.
I think we should
Conversion
return
rate.
unevaluated in this case.
Mhm.
I agree. Unevaluated is better behavior.
And
So if I make my time series and we're doing the operations of constructing the cash flow, so to speak, manually or with a function that does it, it's going to do the right thing. And we're only going to use currency convert in the stack if we are wanting to use past exchange rates to actually move from one currency to another.
no, you can give your own exchange rate, which could be for the future
Got it.
in
Okay. So
currency convert.
as long as in currency convert, the thing we have has the appropriate units there and covers the dates that the cash flows are on.
Yeah, I think it'll be just fine.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
All good. All right. I think
All
we have
right.
a plan here. So Nick should work with Filippo to try and get this all together.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
This will be nice.
Okay.
Good
Okay, great.
stuff.
Right.
Okay,
Thanks, Filippo.
thanks.
Thanks, Jason.
Yep.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
We do have Jeremy here now. So
Okay, great. Let's talk about the nominal appearance of nominal. Okay, what is the current proposal?
So the current proposal, this is based on, sort of what we'd spec'd out during the review of having a tinged gray background to indicate these aren't just bare expressions. For the nominal case, there's kind of this light coloration on the corners. And the ordinal case, there's effectively a bar along the bottom with either we hadn't settled on whether there would be a numeric indicator of what the nth element of the ordered set is, or if we wanted a just an indicator like a circle.
Sorry,
that
what
progresses
are we
along the
actually proposing? Which one of these are we proposing?
bottom. So the proposal is there's two versions of nominal and two versions of ordinal. One is the scale, which is the summary box version. That is the set of all possible unordered elements of the set. And then there is the instance of a nominal element from within that set, which is the
Okay, but I'm trying to understand the things we're seeing on the screen. 1A, 1B,
Yep.
1C. Are these alternatives, or is this a current proposal?
It is the current proposal. The 1B is basically the
I
naked
thought
form
you
without
said,
it.
okay, so this underline, I don't understand this proposal. I mean, here for the ordinal case,
Mhm.
we're proposing. I don't understand. I mean, I don't understand. I thought the dot was supposed to move across the bottom here.
Yes, it does. This is just a single instance with a dot there. We had talked about the possibility of either having a dot that moves across the bottom or having a number indicating the ordinal position inside of it. I think we generally preferred the dot so that it doesn't end up looking like a subscript, but
Yes.
I had Billy propose
Yes.
mock up both versions just to make sure we still like the dot version.
Yeah, so I just don't understand. I mean, I don't understand. Here, why aren't there dots? There would be dots, right? There's just a
There would
mistake.
be dots, yeah. It was just we were making revisions to this right before the meeting, so I missed
fine.
that
All right.
element
Okay.
here.
Okay. Fine.
Yep.
I think that dot is too heavy.
Mhm.
And I think also because it's a scale, I think it'd be nice to just have a ticky type thing. You see what I'm saying?
Tick like a vertical
Yeah, like a
tick.
vertical tick.
That just moves along instead of a circle. Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Billy, if you could try and mock that right now, that'd be great. Okay, so and this underline is not correct. Is that right? Or what is I don't understand. The photo corners here versus underlines. I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, I think the photo corners were what we had imagined for the nominal case. The underline shouldn't be there on the nominal case.
Okay,
It would
so
just be
it's just very wrong. That's why I was confused.
okay. Yeah,
Good.
sorry.
I'm glad
I'm glad it was a mistake on my part and not just yeah.
yeah. All right.
So my questions are for the summary box version. I had sort of proposed this idea of we wanted continuity of design, so we keep the photo box corners and then kind of have an elided version of the list. An alternative version we had talked about is, basically just having circles or some sort of count indicator of how many things are inside the nominal set.
No, I think it's much nicer to see the elements in the set if we can.
Okay.
But I think we got a 4-level spacing, bracketing, whatever
Yeah.
thing, and that doesn't work.
Mhm.
So this white background doesn't really do much for me. And I don't really think, I mean, if we're going to put photo corners, we should put the photo corners on this thing, on the outer box.
Mm.
I don't see why any of this boxing, bracing, whatever
Mhm.
makes any sense. I mean, to me, maybe it's a list, but it would just be literally nominal. Is that the correct thing? It's just called nominal here.
That is what we had spec'd out. We originally had separated nominal objects from nominal scales, but you had liked the idea of, we basically have to have the whole scale be available to the object to know what information, what the possible set
Okay, but
is.
so then what is that actual thing there? What is the full form of that?
That is nominal of all of the possibilities, comma A. It
All
says,
right, okay, fine.
Yep.
Does it have a sub value as well?
Yes, nominal as a sub value. So you can just say A of that nominal scale and it will give you that instance.
You mean nominal scale of A? In other words, I'm saying,
If you, yeah, main. So if you
nominal ABC.
just say, I don't know what
Crashed.
version that is. But
Crashed.
so that's fairly
Well,
recent.
you should
Yeah,
fix that. It's a
but
crash.
yes, that should create nominal A.
It should be nominal
yeah.
of list ABC, comma A.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know why
Okay.
that's crashing in that build, but I will take a look at that. Yeah, the sub value form is equivalent to having it as a second argument. It's a standard curry form. So you can map a bunch of expressions across a nominal scale and it will create nominal objects of them, nominal instances.
Right. Okay. So why did we think photo corners were a good idea? What do they connote?
They were connoting that it is a discrete set. There's a fixed set of possibilities rather than a continuous or infinite collection of things. We had talked about having enumerated a bunch of dots to indicate there are a bunch of possibilities, or having them be dynamic on the set, but it can get busy really quickly.
Well, what about the possibility of a comb, essentially, underneath? I mean, if these ones here are going to be an ordered thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Maybe what we want is a comb, is a light gray comb in both cases, that where the number of teeth in the comb is the number of elements in the set. And in this case, we
There's ticks
highlight
for
one
ordered.
of them.
Oh, I see. Yeah, we
We
highlight
highlight one of them. So I mean, in other words, what we're doing is, can somebody write this code? I mean, I can. Let's try our friend here.
In the ordinal case, we'd have one of the tines be highlighted or darkened because
What
we
are they
have
called? I
effects
thought they
over
were teeth of a comb. What are they called, in fact?
there.
Um,
Tine is the word I was thinking of, but it may not be.
I don't know that word. I knew I was going to learn something from. Okay, all
Yeah,
right.
prong or sharp point is a
Okay,
tine.
so this is here. What we want to do.
Remove the frame true, yeah.
Okay, so what I'm proposing is a little tiny thing like that
Mm-hmm.
at the bottom, and then in the case of which would probably typically be this, with the number of teeth being the number of elements.
Mm-hmm.
And then if it is the ordinal scale, one of those things is emphasized. One of those things is thick black.
Okay. Yeah, I like
Somebody
that. We'll
can
just
try
have
that.
a reasonable, we might just have
I'll-
elided dots. If there's 1,000 elements in there, we show
Obviously,
10 and
yeah.
then dot, dot, dot.
Yeah, we could do that. Or we could not even comb it. We could just have the thing be, we could have be what it we could have it be a what the comb would look like if it was just too many. See, just like this gray
Mm,
bar.
okay.
Jeremy, do you want to comment on this?
I think we need to mock it to see what it's going to look like at the scale, right? It's going to be tiny. So we need to do
Yes.
some testing on how it's going to expand. But I'm also wondering about the framing. It sounds like neither of these framing options work.
Well,
Or
I
at the
think
very
what
least, we should
do,
have the same framing, right, for both?
there's I don't know what the dotted lines are doing for us. I think we just want, I would just have this light bluish, very light blue thing. I think it's fine. And then have this combing underneath. Let's just try that. And with respect to this, what I think we should do is, I think we should no brace.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just put, it's a little bit of an abuse, but I would just put A comma B comma dot dot dot, and then put the comb underneath. So it's
Okay.
sort of an iconic comb. It's not really a, normally you would have the comb underneath a single element, but
Right.
here you're putting the comb underneath all these elements.
Under the full set. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I like that visual continuity between them.
And let's try this kind of light, very light blue. I think it's a possibility. See
What about
that looks
ordinal?
like.
I mean, so you're not going to have a position in the list.
Well, ordinal, you will have a position in the list.
No,
there's
but
multiple
what Jeremy is
elements.
saying in this case here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. How
Yeah,
do we
Okay. So I
distinguish
think
it?
the answer is in that case that we just have a comb, and you can read that it's an ordinal scale because it says ordinal right there.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
the comb is just decoration.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you know how to get rid of the white background in that icon area?
Yeah, I should be able to do that.
Okay.
Okay, good. That's that item. So we go on to the next one.
Yep. All right. Thanks, Billy. Thanks, Jeremy. We have
you.
Eric here. This is something we started talking about a considerable while ago in ILD, and Eric has put some time in over the years to kind of work on.
Okay. So we look at examples. What do I evaluate here?
You can
Initialization.
evaluate that. Yeah, it'll just make sure that the examples work here.
What's this? This is just standard units.
That's all the units.
Okay,
that
so
we
I want to
have.
see that. So what are the ones that aren't? AB Teslas or something is just a thing. This is not what we're talking about here. Is something different, right? What are we talking about here?
So-
Can you frame this?
Yes. We, a while back, up until, I don't know, maybe a year or two ago, we had sort of the Wolfram language, physical quantity system,
it was based on stuff that existed in Wolfram Alpha, but you hadn't wanted to expose it for physical quantities. And then you decided, yeah, it makes sense, might as well expose physical quantities. And so now they are their own entity domain and they interact nicely with the Wolfram language quantity functionality. But you still didn't want to expose units. So now Nick told me that you agreed that exposing the Wolfram Alpha units, which are what underlies the Wolfram language quantity units, made sense. And we do get user requests who want to see a whole list of them or be able to operate on them programmatically. And they've just been these internal variables that they don't know about. So this makes them full, proper entity things. And anything that works here works within the Wolfram language quantity system. So these are, but it also includes remember in Wolfram Alpha, it treats compound units also as separate entities. So it includes all the compound versions that in the Wolfram language quantity system would be expressed, as a ratio or something. So it's basically the entire curated set of units from Wolfram Alpha.
And the people who've been requesting this, are they people who are basically trying to scrape them? Because I don't see any other reason why somebody would want them.
I think it's more,
I've been wanting these for something.
I think people just have, there's all sorts of weird reasons why you would want a complete or semi-complete list of units.
Most
And
of them seem like they're just ripping us off, but that's
some of them probably are, but there's
so
some other.
that's so that we're not going to support those. So what's the actual functionality that we would
Okay.
achieve?
So classes is probably the most immediately useful. You can start so there's all the different classes, some of which are historical, some of which are regional, and so not really strictly systematic classes, but go down SI base, SI standard defined.
So I'm confused here.
Yes.
Why up here this says zeta newtons with a capital Z and so on. Down
Yes.
here, these are, the vara chilena is not written in that kind of form. Is there a reason for that?
Yes, probably the entity names themselves should also be lowercase. Did
Like
you
these?
reevaluate that? Yeah, Zimbabwe should obviously be capitalized, but the only thing I can think of is that I based the,
Okay, so something goofed up here.
yeah, those should be the
Because they're
normal entity
all
names. But you
capitalized.
reevaluate it. You didn't evaluate it, did you? Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, they are. Good.
Okay,
All
good.
right. Great.
Problem solved.
Nice. Okay.
Well, scroll down though. You're looking at the more obscure ones. Go to the, SI base units, CGS units. Those are things that you can't
Those
get
are
your
nice.
hands on
Those are
otherwise
nice.
anywhere in
Yeah.
the language.
Those are nice.
Counting units is another slightly more obscure one, but there's no way to get your hands on it otherwise. There's minimal linguistic exposure, but this does allow you to do stuff in alpha also that you can't currently do, like directly get SI base units.
Sorry, I'm confused. This doesn't work right now?
Okay. Linguistics on the units themselves don't work because it clashes with the internal Wolfram Alpha unit
By the way,
parsers.
this is crazy. We should not expose this. This is weird.
Tony and I like it, but it's easy
What are those?
Those are the Wikidata IDs.
No, we're not going to expose those.
Yeah, easy to unexpose.
Don't do it.
It's just one of the okay.
Yeah, just don't do it.
Yep. So what was I saying? So there's minimal linguistic exposure. Basically, only the classes themselves and the properties when combined with classes are linguistically exposed. Otherwise, you have to operate on them using the entity framework.
Okay. By the way, I'm realizing that I'm really late for something here. Shoot.
And then if we do expose them, you should be able to go back and forth between Wolfram language quantities and the entity versions like you currently can for physical quantity stuff. So that seems
I think
mostly
this needs a
straightforward.
longer discussion, but which
Okay.
we need to have.
These last two are small utilities that we had proposed on mailing lists. We can circle back to them as well, but I think they're both potentially useful. There's some
I
discussion.
think we should just call this array trim and have it default to trim zeros,
Okay.
just like we have array pad.
Yep.
That's what I would plan.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to need to come back to this. I'm sorry.
No problem. If you have any other comments, questions, or concerns in the meantime, you'd like me to.
Yeah, no, let's bring this back to the next ILD meeting. I'm sorry, I just have
Okay.
to run along. Okay.
All right, thanks.
Thank you all. Okay, see you all soon.
Thanks all.
Bye.